Hey guys, how the hell are you? Welcome to Infrequently Asked Questions number 4. And I just want to say I'm really happy that I keep getting the opportunity to do these for you. I definitely love answering your questions. And let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right on into it. Question number 1. Question for next iFAQ. When ordering a high-end custom build, how much consideration would you have in opting for fan frets? Also, do you personally find this feature on guitars more comfortable apart from the ideal tension it provides? I'm definitely of the opinion that it's way more comfortable on extended range instruments because of that fan. On 6-string instruments, to me it's not really noticeable so much. I think a lot of it has to do with how wide the fan is, what scale lengths are actually a part of that multi-scale design, but I don't really give too much thought to it when I'm playing it. I usually just pick up a guitar and okay, I'm playing this now, and my fingers just kind of subconsciously adjust to the scale length on the instrument. As far as how much consideration I give if I'm placing a high-end custom shop guitar, it totally depends on, first and foremost, what I'm looking to get out of the instrument. Is there a certain type of music I'm looking to play on it? Is there a certain type of vibe I'm going for with that particular instrument? Is it something that would be more so for recording or for live use, if I were to be playing live? A lot of things would kind of dictate, what I'm looking to get out of that instrument. The other thing is number of strings. If it's a 6-string, I probably would not be opting for fan frets because I've already got a fan fret 6-string here that I really love, my Ormsby, and I don't really see myself as desperately needing another fan fret 6-string. Fan fret 7, I don't know, that would come down to the aforementioned variables a lot more. I think extended range, it definitely serves a much better purpose on just a normal 6-string instrument. 8-string, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, it must have fan fret for me. And the reason why is because of the string tension issue. I think that it's uncomfortable, and I think it doesn't respond the way I want it to when I'm playing a straight scale 8-string, which is the reason why I don't typically ever play them, because I don't enjoy playing them. I think they feel really weird. They definitely hurt a little bit more to play, and I don't get the actual reaction from the strings as I'm playing it that I want. Next question. How about a charity boxing match between you and Glenn from SMG? So, I've got to be honest, man. Glenn would fucking kill me. That's not to say that I can't hold my own in a fight. I've definitely been in fights in my life, and I've done okay. I know that I would definitely be very mismatched in this fight. I know that Glenn would just wipe the floor with me. That being said, also, I don't necessarily want to get in a fight with him. I wouldn't say that I think the world of him, but I do think highly of Glenn, and I definitely appreciate the content that he puts out. Some people think that I have an issue with him for whatever reason, and I've never understood where that came from. As far as I can tell, there's only been maybe 2 videos of his where I really kind of took offense and had a problem, but otherwise I fucking love Glenn, dude. So, I wouldn't want to be in a boxing match with him in the first place, let alone for charity. I'm not that charitable of a person, to be honest. Is the Hobbs BC Rich difficult to find? Holy shit, is this thing difficult to find. This was something where I was looking for something like this, if not this exact one, honestly, for about 2 years before I finally just pulled the trigger and bought this one from kind of a dubious reverb listing. I'm really grateful that I did because, as I mentioned in my personal guitars episode, this thing ended up being in way better shape than the listing would have suggested, albeit still with some damage and some issues that I had to address. But this thing is really difficult to find, as are pretty much all of the really cool and awesome made in Korea BC Riches that came out about a decade ago, which is the reason why they usually go for fucking stupid price points. You know, if you see someone selling one of these things for like $1,500, tell them to eat shit. They're not worth that much. And yes, I do know I was trying to sell one for about that much at some point. So eat shit, Arnold. Well, that's okay. I'm keeping it now. But yeah, these they're really, really tough to come by because they were actually a pretty goddamn exceptional playing instrument. Not just these, but like pretty much all of the made in Korea BC Riches from a decade ago. So as a result, a lot of people don't want to part with them, and those people that are usually asking for a premium. Question: do you have a favorite guitar company or brand that you can consider the best in the world? So I would definitely not say that there is a particular company that is the best in the world. And the reason why is because I feel like so many companies are hitting that echelon these days. I think that so many companies have realized the importance of consistently, that's the key word, consistently putting out top-notch quality product with top-notch quality components and materials that have just exquisite tone, exquisite features, quality control down to the most finite details. Like, I think that there's so many companies that are doing such an exceptional job of that. Framus, Aristides, Mayonnaise Custom Shop, PRS Private Label, G&G Negrini, a bunch of really, really awesome companies. Oh, Padalka, that's another one that I've become privy to in the last few years. Padalka puts out some great stuff. Really, there's just so many brands that have figured out how to do this that I would not call any particular one the best in the world. The other reason why I would not say that is because what is best for me would probably not be best for you, and what's best for both of us is probably not best for this other person over here. Different players need different things from their instruments, and I mean, that's part of the reason why I buy so many instruments, because I like seeing what different companies have to offer and seeing like the different vibes and feels that I get whenever I pick up one of those instruments. My Ormsby does not play like my Aristides. My Aristides does not play like my Framuses. My Framuses do not play like my BC Riches. My BC Riches do not play like my Washburn or my Tajima or my Parts Casters or my Schecter or anything like that. And the reason why I keep buying all these different things is because I want that difference from instrument to instrument to instrument. So no, I would not say a particular brand or company is the best in the world, because I like the idea of chasing after that, not necessarily getting a hold of it. I like the chase more than the catch, as Lemmy might say. Metal Mike 87 writes, name your guilty pleasure album, song, and artist. Ooh, that is a tough call. I have a lot of guilty pleasures. And before anyone starts in like, it's not a guilty pleasure if you really like it, it is kind of a guilty pleasure because, you know, there's definitely things that people are going to be like, oh, wow, he actually likes that. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say I feel bad about it at all, but let's call it what it is. It's a guilty pleasure. I would definitely say a guilty pleasure artist would be Neil Diamond. God, I fucking love Neil Diamond, and I was so heartbroken that he stopped touring and that he got Parkinson's, because I was actually looking forward to possibly buying a ticket for that last tour he was going to do. I've seen him live once. He puts on an incredible show. I would have loved to have seen him live again, but I totally understand. Guilty pleasure album, I would probably say any of the Dance Party Like It's Fill in the Year Here albums, because when I was going to university for that one failed semester, there was a station out of Chicago that always played all these dance hits, and I don't know why, but man, I just really loved listening to that radio station all the time. It wasn't the beats, it was the melody lines that were like super infectious, and the synth pads and everything. And consistently from year to year to year, those Happy Boys compilations that they would put out, Dance Party Like It's 2002, 2003, 2004, etc., consistently, every single one of those was really top notch and had some great dance music on it, and I wish they wouldn't have stopped putting them out because I actually used to buy them all. Guilty pleasure song, that is going to be a tough one. So probably like just one off the top of my head, I would probably say Paradise by Coldplay. Just really, really infectious melody line on that. So, you know, I'm a sucker for great hooks and catchy songs, regardless of the genre. What can I say? If someone wanted around about $750 7-string, which one would you suggest? So around about that price point, I would probably say that right now the best dollar for dollar bang for your buck that you're gonna find is the Solar stuff. And that's not to say that the stuff that Schecter and ESP and other companies are putting out in that price range is not up to snuff, but that is to say that, god damn, I just love the Solar that I've got. I love every other Solar that I picked up. They've all kind of felt pretty similar. And I mean, what does it say about, like, when I have friends come over to try out my instruments, they try so many different things around here, but most of the time they are going to say that their number 1 and number 2 instruments are usually one of the Framus guitars and the Solar. So, I mean, they love how they both play and they love the vibe that they get from them, but it's different. And that's not to say that a $750 Solar is on a par with like a 4 or 5, however many thousands of dollar Framus, but that is to say that the Solar is an absolutely killer instrument for the money. Question for next iFAQ. What is your preference for number of strings on a guitar, and why do you know so much about beer? P.S. Love this channel. Hey, thanks, man. I love you for watching. So, first of all, preference for number of strings, I definitely prefer 6 or 8. And the reason why is just because every time I pick up a 7-string, I don't know, it's just the boxes that I play in, like, always seem just a little bit weird on a 7-string to me. Other than that, I don't have a good reason as to why I prefer 6 and 8 but not a 7. I just, normally whenever I'm writing, I'm just reaching for a 6 or I'm writing for an 8, and that's kind of it. That said, I do have a custom shop 7-string that's on the way. I can't wait to get it. And then to answer your other question, how do I know so much about beer? Honestly, it was something where my buddy Eric kind of introduced me to it way back in the day. We went to this place called the Hop Leaf in Chicago because he and I would always go to like record shops and stuff like that, and we went to Metal Haven that day, but then afterwards he was like, we got to go to the Hop Leaf. I've got to get you into the good beer. And so we went to the Hop Leaf, and like he suggested a few things I order, and I was kind of blown away and amazed by how varying beer tasted, because at the time I didn't know shit for shit. I didn't know the differences between IPAs, stouts, lagers, pilsners, ales of all different types, whatever. You know, I was just like, nah, beer's beer, you know, hand me a Miller or something, you know, if I'm gonna drink beer. You know, not at all realizing that a lot of beer is kind of crap, and you have to kind of go off in search of the good stuff. But that kind of started me down a road where, like, I would only buy the good stuff, because every time I would get my hands on a cheap beer, I would kind of be able to taste that it was a cheap beer. It's a noticeable difference in taste for me. It's also something where, like, I can sit here and sip an ale and I can tell you the different notes out of it. It's weird. I can't do that with anything else, like that shit that, like, sommeliers do with wine or whatever. Like, it's not something that I can do with wine. I can't tell you the difference from one red versus another red. To me, it's all red wine. But with beer, I can tell you the reason why this stout is better than this stout, and why this stout is way better than this stout. And I can pick out the different notes, I can pick out what's overpowering, what's too subtle, etc. And I don't know, it's just a rabbit hole that I've just kind of ended up tumbling down, and I'm kind of grateful for it because I like it. No offense, dude, but what do you expect from a $300 Chinese guitar? You can buy a $1,500+ guitar and it still has sharp fret edges and need a complete setup. I totally 100% agree with you, and this is in regards to the same video that was referenced by last week's Troll of the Week. You know, here's the thing. Yeah, you can buy a $300 guitar and still be critical of it, to be honest with you. And I'm not taking offense to your question because it's actually a really, really good question. There are people out there that are going to spend $300, $400, maybe even less, maybe $200 on a guitar because that's all they can afford and they just really, really want to play. That being said, these people need to know what they're getting into. So don't get me wrong, I can pick up a $300 guitar and not necessarily have to expect that it plays fucking godly. But at the same time, I think that it still bears mentioning what issues an instrument in that price range might have, so that way, if that is your price range, you can look for something else. For instance, you know, like, even though I was critical of a different Harley Benton earlier on, like that Harley Benton Fusion model that I had was incredible for the money, was stupid awesome for the money. It was a $350 instrument, if I remember right, and it played way, way better. It punched way above its weight. So that's the kind of thing I'm referring to. Like, if you're going to spend the money, you should always know what you're getting into. You should always know what you have to deal with. You should always know what you might have to fix, what you might get driven crazy by, or what you might even love about it, regardless of the price point, whether it be super expensive or whether it be super dirt cheap like that. Two things. First off, keep rocking on. What would you say to someone who has only played on a maple neck? Is the Rosewood neck sticky? So that's a very good question, and I'll kind of show you the neck that I have on my Hoppus here, because this is a 5-piece maple and ebony neck that I have on this guitar, and it does have a different feel than a maple neck for sure. That's actually one of the reasons why I initially wanted a Rosewood necked instrument. I had played a Music Man and a Guitar Center that had a Rosewood neck, and I was like, oh my god, like the warmth and the note definition on this thing was incredible, and I kind of attributed that to the neck. So definitely a tone reason. But then when I got this thing, I was like, oh my god, this thing feels so good. So I definitely feel like there is a slightly different feel. I think that a lot of it also has to do with the finishes that are used on it too, though. But here's something you need to be aware of with regards to Rosewood. There's always going to be a chance with anything involving Rosewood that you're going to have an allergic reaction to it. A lot of people can't play Rosewood fingerboards, Rosewood necks, whatever, because they have a sort of reaction to it. It is an irritant to a lot of people. So take that into account too. If you're getting sort of like a weird feel, a weird reaction to it, that might be the problem, and stop what you're doing immediately and maybe look into that a little bit. But I mean, otherwise, I like the feel of it. I think it definitely feels really, really nice. There again, it might also be partially due to the finish that's on it as well. But yeah, to me it definitely feels a little bit different. Not necessarily sticky, just kind of maybe a little bit smoother, if anything, without necessarily having to rely on a polyurethane finish or anything. It just inherently feels a little bit smoother. I like it though. And now it's time for this week's. Paco writes, "Get to the gym, you fat fuck." Well, thank you for sharing that with me, sir, as if I didn't know about my weight. You know, it's always striking to me that people will actually post this shit on the comments section. Like, you don't think that I walk past a mirror and notice the gut? I mean, you know, I'm fat, I'm not blind. Anyways, thank you guys so very, very much for your continued patronage, especially in these kind of weird times that we're in right now. Thank you for making this video series as popular as it already is, and hope to see you guys in the next video. click that subscribe button, like this video. There's lots more metal-oriented guitar content to come.